Hey everyone.
I gotta say, shout out to you right off the bat. Especially, yeah, TCP. The graphics are awesome.
Thank you. I stayed up all night working on those. You know when there's like one little thing out of place?
Yeah, yeah. You got to make sure it's perfect, and it'll never be perfect. You know.
No, until you delude yourself into thinking it is.
Right.
Because you're tired.
Yeah.
Hey, True Crime Pantomime, how are you? So I wanted to go through some documents, like the heading said, but I'm not going to do all of them because I know that there is a lot. I want to first just put CJ's link, even though everybody already knows it.
You don't have to worry about that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff about these documents for sure.
Yeah, so okay, let me see which one. I wanted to, I have them all open, so let me just see which. Is this the one? Yeah, okay. This is. So because I have them all open, they're all popping up, so I need to make sure. I told you this is an experiment.
Yep, you definitely got to get your feet wet first. But it'll get easier. You'll start to think of shortcuts and all that good stuff.
Actually, no, the one I wanted to go through disappeared.
Yeah, the Chrome browser and StreamYard are not getting along and haven't been getting along for about a
Oh,
week.
they're not getting along?
Yeah, just like
Okay.
the issue with the camera and the microphone that you were having, that I was having already last week. So, um,
Okay.
if anybody does have those problems, just make sure you go to your browser settings, go to your privacy, go to your camera settings, go to your permissions, and then have StreamYard ask you to use the camera every time. That should fix it.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to ask you. This was an interesting one because it's like 3 lines, right? And all it says is the order granting access to sealed records dated, I think somebody was trying to write June,
Yeah, that's what.
is sealed pursuant to Idaho Code Administrative Rule 32. So isn't that very mysterious? Like, who would get to see that? And what is that? Like, Do you know? Does anyone know?
Can you scroll up for a second? Can I see
Mm-hmm.
the, ti- the title? Oh, oh, it just says. Okay, never mind. I
It's
thought it.
it's the vaguest thing I've ever seen. This one,
And it's
like the
weird.
whole order is fine.
Yeah, it's weird because look at that handwriting of June. Like, don't you think you'd no? I'm use some damn whiteout and actually make it legible. You
Just print it.
because anybody could be like, well, is that June or July? It's 4 letters.
I thought it was jive.
Or something. I mean, Joey, Joie. I don't know, but you would think that there'd be better penmanship for the document. Um, let's see, order granting access to seal records, June 5th is seal. There's so many of those, though. You know what I mean? There's so many of those 2-page documents that just basically say this is going to be sealed, and then it
Yeah.
shows everybody's contact information after that on page 2.
Hey, Lily.
Yeah, what did you actually click on for the it just says order 625?
Yeah, it just says order. And as far as I know,
Yeah, that's weird.
it is really weird. That was the one I wanted to ask about, like, really quickly, because I had no idea what was going on there.
Yeah, there's not even.
Okay. But okay, so did you see that the judge put in an order when it came to the media, who was asking if there could be like a media representative?
Yeah, I was excited.
Yeah, so, but I mean, he made an order on that, and I think it was a pretty fair order considering. It seems like he's made it that somebody from the home county can be reserved. But other than that,
Which they should. I mean, I honestly, because I was up at the Richard Allen trial in Delphi, Indiana, and it was kind of the same way. Like, there's basically first come, first serve, and I think that's how it should be. I honestly was surprised that he didn't, and maybe it's because it's a really small courtroom. But even though it's really small, I'm surprised that he didn't make it multiple people from the local city and state. I'm a little surprised at that. But I'm very satisfied with the fact that Dateline and Court TV we have just as much access to that seat is Dateline and Court TV, and I think that's really important. I know that a lot of these mainstream media organizations, in their response to that, are trying to say that they're the ones that report fairly and unbiased, and that's why they deserve access over the general public. And really, I don't. The whole reason none of us watch MSM anymore is because of the fact that they manipulate things, and we tell the truth. And I'm glad that Hippler is caught up to the atmosphere and the times and how everything's changing, because I think it is very important to have people like us be able to have that seat. And so I'm excited. I'm I I the I think I might be able to get out there to do some reporting from
really?
the trial. Yeah, so it was one of those things where I was always nervous, because it's like I don't want to try and shoot for the stars, so to speak, if then when it comes time to it that it's not going to be available because of mainstream media. So I'm excited, and I think everybody should be.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's a pretty interesting contrast where we've got the judge who's clearly upset about the leak, and he's clearly upset. Like, obviously, whoever's really liable for it is the leaker, but there's still a certain amount of responsibility for NBC Dateline. And I just think it's kind of interesting how he's clearly unhappy about that, and rightly so. And then just on the other hand, you have the media saying, "But can't you treat us special? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on?" And
Mm-hmm.
with the way they behaved, I mean, I'm not saying that all mainstream media has behaved badly, but they haven't behaved very
Well,
good.
think about it like this. In the very beginning, when the court hearings first started, that's how my coffee cup layover became a thing, was because, look, if court TV don't want to stop zooming in, because the judge made it clear, I don't want you zooming in, keep it fixed, all of these other things. And anytime that they would zoom in and look at his nostril hairs, I would throw the coffee cup up, because I'm like, look, this is important that this trial gets televised. And if court TV is going to be the one to mess it up, I'm going to make sure that we can do what we can do as the general public to be like, look, judge, we're going to follow your rules even though they don't want to, you know?
Right.
And so, I'm really happy that that was the decision that was made. And really, when you look at who's the one that's, yeah, it's social media. There's going to be a lot of channels out there that make up a lot of stuff or do the clickbait and this and that, but there is a lot of journalists, and that's what we are. We take information, and sometimes, unlike Dateline, who wants to spread information, there's people, journalists like us, that have information that does impact an investigation, and we make sure that we get it to those people that it's supposed to go to, and we also keep our mouth shut. there's
Right.
there's a, there's a huge difference. So for their little special treatment, maybe 20 years ago, but they see how you guys have already manipulated, zoomed in, let leaked information out. What have we done? You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy. I'm glad. It's a
Yeah.
good. I'm glad that he's really thinking about. I really think that Judge Hippler is really wanting to, it is about the justice and the truth for these victims. It's not any of this other foolery that's taken place.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I mean, we'll go through the document now, but I could almost feel from reading it that he thought that it was a bit of like a little bit of a nerve, like whatever they sent him to ask for special treatment. He even like quoted the word concert, like they were talking about how it was concert style, like to get tickets or something.
Well, yeah,
When
you have to, the at noon local time, you have to click on a website and be one of the numbers that gets allowed.
what's wrong with
which
that?
which is good, because they should have did that in Delphi. What they didn't do in Delphi is they had lines that people had to show up to outside, and that's why there was tents all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
At least people can click from a website, you know.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. And Lily says Dateline representatives shouldn't be allowed in the court. And I was wondering because they said they had this meeting with like 100 different people.
Yeah.
It was a council meeting and 100 different representatives from media. And like my first thought was like, I wonder if NBC was there.
Oh, they were there. YouTubers were there. General public. There was pretty much anybody that you can think of was going to be a part of that meeting. It's just a lot of it. I mean, let's be honest. A lot of it is just clout based. I'm just going to be honest with you. Hey, I showed up to the meeting. I was one of. Good for you. It's common sense what is allowed and what's not allowed. Come on, you know.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't need to
no.
show up to a meeting just to.
Yeah, I think they were trying to make a scene about it. I really do.
It's clout. It's clout based. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, if you don't know that the pan is hot, I don't know what to tell you. I'm just
Okay, let's go through it quickly though. I thought his tone in this was pretty interesting. So this is order regarding allocation of reserved media seating. And it says that the court received 2 requests for reserved seating for representatives of the media, and he puts that in quotes, at trial. Specifically, the court received a letter on the 28th of May, 2025, from counsel for a media collection, asking, among other things, and I just want to know what the other things are, but okay, to ensure that someone from the media is always able to be present at trial, that a seat for a pooled media member be reserved. Then on 29 May 2025, the court received a separate letter from a local AP journalist asking that a pooled seat be reserved for text media. The asserted rationale for both requests is a concern that the concert-style ticket reservation system that will be utilized might result in days when no member of the media is allocated a seat. And I mean, if the media is saying that's very serious, I mean, it's still being streamed. It's not like they can't sit in their office.
Well, I think this is what it is. I think what it is they want to make sure not only that they have access, but also when it comes to the other things, I have a feeling like the other things are, and they can't come out with the news before us. You know, this YouTuber can't walk out the door and say, "Look, guys, they just did this." They have to wait until we put it out there, kind of thing. They're greedy because I think they realize that this is mainstream media realizing how powerful we are. This is what it is.
I think so. And I mean, he mentions in this document that there actually isn't really a way to define media anymore. So he's not dealing with this. That's actually how you summarize the document. It's like, no.
Right there. I'm media too. You know what I'm saying? I'm media too.
Hey, he streams the hearings. He's media. Okay.
We're journalists. We are journalists. That's what we are.
Yeah. Okay. The competing requests highlight part of the problem with reserving seats for representatives of the media. Idaho courts do not recognize who or what constitutes media. Indeed, in today's world, there are unending people and organizations that can make a claim to being media. In addition to traditional mainstream broadcast media, there are newspaper writers, radio, news media, independent investigative journalists, true crime podcasters, video bloggers, YouTube streamers, Instagram posters, Facebook page writers, and publishers, other social media influencers found on an endless number of internet locations, as well as a plethora of other curators, commentators, and self-publishing journalists trying to there was a full stop there, trying to obtain a consensus on who should be eligible to be a pooled representative is impossible. And I think that's like the whole point. He's just basically saying, like, you guys are, thank you for your 2 letters, but you're a little bit outdated.
Yeah, like he's caught up to the times more than they are. We outnumber mainstream media. Mainstream media just has sponsors, you know, like Disney Cruise and all of those other things. So, and they're on, you know, national antennas. We just have these platforms. So
yeah,
we're all journalists. It's just some play by the rules and some don't.
Providing reserved seating for endless representatives of various media types, even assuming those within each such category could agree to whom their representative should be, would result in all the limited available seats being spoken for, such the interested members of the general public are unable to attend. In addition to the problem of defining the media and getting them all to agree on designated pooled representatives, the requests for reserved seating presume a problem that almost certainly will not come into being. I don't even understand what he's saying there. He's getting very poetic. Specifically, it seems unlikely that on any given day, every single media member, no matter how defined, fails to win a seat. So again, I mean, he's basically just saying the same thing. But what is interesting is what starts here. And I think I think this was a decision that we all really did agree with. Nonetheless, this case does have an unusual twist that does not present in most other cases with a lot of media attention. Specifically, the community most impacted by these unalivings, the citizens of Latah County, also the county financially responsible for the costs of trial, are unable to easily attend because the case was transferred to a venue hundreds of miles away. Given this, and in part addressing the broader concern for media attendance expressed in the letters to the court, one pulled seat for a media of Latah County local media of wide circulation will be reserved. The local broadcaster, newspaper, and radio journalists located in Latah County and adjacent Nez Perce counties, local media, must agree to a local representative to attend each day, and it need not be the same person every day. So I think
There's gonna be some fighting going on, Rosie.
yeah, there is. There is.
There's gonna be some shady stuff going on between those people trying to be the one to get to go there for the day. Guarantee it.
Yeah. But also I wonder how like general mainstream media feels like. They wrote this letter and they were like, we want we want reserved seats. And he was like, no. But thanks for the idea though, because now I'm gonna give one to Latah County.
Which,
Not
like I
you.
said, I was surprised they didn't make it like 2 or 3, really.
Yeah.
Just one. And that's the county, that everything took place and everything's been involved in. So I'm really shocked about that.
Yeah.
Because you know what? One of the mainstream media or YouTubers or whatever, you can sit outside. You got to give it to the local media, man. They've been the ones that have not only been reporting on it, but been affected, because yes, we're over here and we report on it. And, shady stuff goes on all over the world. But at the same time, this was their neighborhood, So
Yeah.
I really feel like they, hopefully, they're allowed to have a couple instead of just one.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how that goes. But that's pretty much the order, which I think is good of him. Good morning, Moonlight.
Good morning.
Hope everyone's good. Yeah, so that was pretty much the order. But I mean, I do think, like in the context of Dateline and upcoming books and stuff, it's just pretty. I don't know. It's kind of ironic. That they even asked.
I mean, they showed what they're willing to do in the beginning, and they just showed you what they were willing to do with Dateline. They started off zooming in on his nostrils the first court hearing when they were told not to, and they ended it by leaking evidence that was never put out to the general public. And still, you can't even get the actual source. The photos and the interviews, it was all suggestive. It really was. The video of the car doing the 3-point turn and leaving the scene of the crime, stuff like that. That right there, that's where it's like, you should know better. So they've already shown.
Yeah, honestly. And when it comes to the rest of the stuff that was in there, I mean, the interviews and stuff were just like space fillers. They were
It's all suggestive. It really was. I mean, really, other than like even the screenshots, yeah, we've never seen them before, but that is not going to impact the trial. I'm just going to be honest with you. Screenshots, that whatever, that's not going to impact the trial. The fact that the video of the car, which is what they're using, the car coming in and the car leaving, that's what they're using. And that right there could impact the trial. And so that right there, out of the rest of the stuff, it's whatever. But the video of the car, that was not cool.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Yeah, spicy nuggets. It's it's like there's so much information, especially that I got for the Micah Miller case. Like, there's stuff that I still haven't even talked about. Sebastian Rogers, there's stuff I still haven't even talked about. And I never will until it becomes public. Stuff like that. it's you should know better because when you're putting it out there like that, you're not thinking about the families and the victims and the communities, especially the victims. You're not thinking about them because if you were, you would respect the process of any investigation instead of just putting it out there. It's because you want attention, and that's the most messed up part about it.
Yeah, it is really. Um, so okay, but I wanted to get that. Hi, Spicy. I wanted to get that out the way because I know that today everybody is kind of talking about the subpoenas that have gone out, and I guess I don't know. I guess it's like when you see that, it's like you realize how close this is to getting started. Like it's getting
Yeah,
time, right?
yeah.
So that makes it feel real, which is why people are so.
Well, I mean, let's think about it. Of course, there was going to be people from Pennsylvania that are subpoenaed to show up to the trial.
Yes.
He wasn't from Idaho. He wasn't from Washington State. So of course they're going to subpoena people from Pennsylvania. That's why I don't understand the uproar. It's kind of like you should have already known that the pan was hot, you know? I mean, it's common
Yeah.
sense. What I'm surprised of, this is what I'm surprised of with the subpoenas, is Bethany Funk still not wanting to be a witness, man. That's you got a tattoo of your friend right after, with wings and everything right after the crime took place. That's one of your great friends, you had that picture of all of you together, and I wouldn't think about spending my time with anybody else, stuff like this. You guys were having great times living together. You were sisters, best friends. I'm sure you called each other besties all the time. Why wouldn't you want to make sure that you showed up for the trial, especially if you're a witness, because you want to make sure that your friends get justice?
Yeah, of course.
That's the one that's shocking me. I mean, the car dealership guy, I mean, come on. That's yes, they're going to bring him in to discuss about what with the car. They're going to talk to him about the car. They're going to ask him what the car had features. They're going to say, ask him, was there any extra features he was interested in or made sure he didn't want? I mean, that's common knowledge. You know what I mean? But the Bethany stuff, why would you not want to make sure you help your friend and show up as a witness?
Yeah, well, Miss
You're a
Exculpate.
witness.
Yeah.
You're a witness. Yes, and that's why she doesn't want to show up, Rosie, because
Ooh.
the exculpatory evidence to Mr. Kohberger and her alone experience that's unique to her when it comes to
Yes. Things that only she heard and saw, right?
exactly. That's why she doesn't want to. I mean, that's why like when they were trying to talk to her in the spring of 2023, they wanted to fly down to Arizona to interview her, and she was just trying to avoid it. I honestly feel like that's probably why she left the state. She probably thought that, I mean, really, that is a barrier. She's got legal people in her family, and they probably said, look, you you can't get out of it, but at least if you move all the way across, I mean, think about it. You go from you're almost to Canada, and you move almost to Mexico. I mean, how much farther can you get away, right? Right? How much
Right.
farther can you get away? So it's like, look, this is the best you can do. Move really far away and hope that they, you know.
It's a good effort, actually. I mean, it is.
I mean, it's the only thing she could have done. Otherwise, if she was in Idaho, there's no way you're
Yeah.
not showing up. I
Yeah.
hope, but she needs to. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's weird for me. I don't really come from a country where we have states. If you need somebody, you just go fetch them. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is weird for me to understand. But I also wanted to put this in chat. It's from CJ's own video where he streamed the last hearing, and the timestamp there, if you guys just want a reminder, is for when the judge said that he was keeping this special reservation for Dylan and Bethany because he technically considers them victims.
I mean, yes, yeah. I mean, that had to be traumatic. You know, I listen. I never downplayed the traumatic of it, but when it comes to being your friends, and if something scary happens, I mean, I don't know. It's just weird. 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So the reason that I put that in there first was because, you know, I wanted to just show you guys the screenshots. They're going around. I'm sure you've all seen them. This is just information about basically her subpoena. So that's, her name. The plaintiff is the state of Idaho. The defendant is Brian Kohberger. I mean, we know all of this. But it's interesting to me because like the way she's on here, it's like she's being summoned, she's being subpoenaed, and the judge is like a little bit kind of treating them like guests. And I think that this brings it home. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like you can see it that way, but yeah.
Dude, you're one of the two witnesses, and this is your friends got brutally attacked. You didn't want to call for help until 8 hours later, until somebody else told you you needed to call.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to show up to make sure that the person that committed the crime. You know what I mean? Like what is going to happen to the justice system? Seriously. What is going to happen to the justice system when somebody says this is what took place and they don't ever have to show up and testify under oath and in front of the court and in front of what is going to happen to the justice system? Seriously. Then anybody can claim anything and don't have to be accountable for it.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, then I don't know, pretty much
there is no justice system.
Yeah, it like pretty much falls apart because you can just solve all of your problems by evading them, and I guess the whole thing becomes redundant. That's why it is strange to me, the thing with different states, like I'm not used to that yet. Like you have to go through a whole process to get somebody back to where they were.
Yeah.
But Spicy Chicken Nugget says, I don't think we will truly ever know the whole truth. If it don't feel right, sir, right, it isn't right, no matter how much they want to gaslight us. And I guess that is a pretty real risk when it comes to this case, is that whatever we end up knowing, we'll probably never know everything, right? And I think that's probably a little bit more likely than not with the amount of complications that there have been.
Yeah, that's why before I even started talking about who I thought the leaker was, that's why I started saying, Moto Man asked me a question in one of the shows and he's like, but why would they greenlight it? And it's like, why wouldn't they? Think about this. This is why they would greenlight it, because just everything of what you said, Rosie, and what Spicy Chicken Nugget's saying about gaslighting. What have they been doing since the first press conferences?
Yeah.
We got stuff, but we can't show you. What have they been doing from, throughout the investigation, even what they were doing to Steve G in the beginning before they started leaking him information that wasn't out to the general public to get him to shut up? We got so much, just wait for trial. Now, as we're seeing all the gaslighting that's taken place the last 2 years that this court process has taken, what have we seen with these supplemental discovery requests and the amount of them and all the stuff that doesn't exist that we're starting to see when a lot of these court papers are coming out and we're like, well, this was supposed to exist, but it really don't. It's all of this gaslighting. That's why I feel like they would greenlight the leaks. Because then think about this. We'll talk about what Dateline put out there, the videos of the car, right? That's part of their their timeline and their proof to show that this is Brian Kohberger. But then the leak, the self-made patsy, puts out the information. They greenlight it because they don't want to come to trial to have to show the information that they've been telling you they've had this whole time. Because when they show it in trial, the whole public will find out the whole circus act. And the only way that they can keep that circus act a secret and keep pretending like they had a whole bunch, they just couldn't show it. It's what they've been telling the public in the beginning. We got a whole bunch, we couldn't show it. And then when the stuff can get tossed because of being dirty from Dateline or whatever, well, if we would have been able to show it, you guys would have seen the proof. The same kind of gaslighting that took place from the very beginning. That's why they would greenlight it, because they don't want you to get to Christmas Day and get to finally open that present. They don't even want you to get to that point, because once you open that Christmas present, you're going to go, it's just a lump of coal. They don't want you to know. So we're going to prevent you from even being able to open that Christmas gift. Same stuff.
And I mean, if that tactic works, then it really is pretty sad, because, I mean, if they manage to wiggle their way out of not having to explain, I mean, there's nothing in this case that's straightforward, right? And
Nothing.
I think maybe, like with what you're saying, maybe they don't even care about winning or losing the case anymore. They just really care about, like, not having to explain themselves.
They've already done it, Rosie.
Yeah.
There's other cases that they have been a part of where they threw a whole bunch of charges on somebody. The whole, well, we can't show you the cell phone data because it's top secret, right? We can't show you. They even argued the case in the beginning of 2023 in those first court hearings. They even argued about that case themselves, referring to that case as a reason why they shouldn't allow everybody to see the cast data and all this stuff, because it's secret technology. They didn't have to then. Why do they have to now? No, they had to back then, and that's the reason why their client got off. And you know what their response was, Rosie, after the person that they threw all of these charges on for committing these crimes, then they end up getting off. You know what their response was as the prosecution? We're sorry that the jury didn't see it, and we're sorry we have a whole bunch of evidence to show that this person did it. We're not going to look. We're sorry that they didn't agree with us, but we're not going to pursue justice. They don't care.
Yeah,
The only thing they needed to have happen was for the University of Idaho to continue to not only maintain their attendance, if not succeed it. That's the only thing that they were worried about. They don't care if they lose the case. They don't care about anything else. They just didn't want to lose the University of Idaho, because if they lost the University of Idaho, they lost Moscow, period. It would have went away, period. Even Steve G said it. That's all they care.
When it comes to the motion to delay, do you think it'll work? Or I have a feeling he's not going to grant that. But when it comes to things that he may or may not throw out, I can't decide. I don't know what
he's going to delay it. This is why I think he's pissed. Okay. I don't think, obviously, because the information came out, but listen, I don't think he's going to delay it, because it's like, look, it's out there. There's nothing that they can do differently now, right? There's nothing they can do different. It's already out there. It's already out there. I think he's pissed off because when it comes, say BK is found guilty, you can't tell me that what Dateline did wouldn't create a massive appeal for Brian Kohberger. Look, they leaked evidence before my client was even in trial. That's a massive argument for an appeal. And that's why I think the judge is upset. Yes, he's upset because it came out in the first place. It never should have. But I think he's really upset about what it can do in the end, not what it's going to do now. And so if he does delay it, I think it may be delayed maybe a week or two just to try and
Mhm.
figure out how he's going to go about, with the jury stuff and how all that's going to work and what, because there is some damage that they created, a lot of damage. Um, but I
Yeah.
think he's upset about what can be taken away, you know, if he really did
Yeah,
commit this.
and I mean, he did say that when he put out that, I don't know what that was called, but he was petitioning role players to like preserve their communication. I don't remember what that order was called, but he was saying that it is going to possibly cost the people of that county more money now.
Yeah.
So he's well aware that something's going to have to happen. I mean, they can't
It
just,
was,
because I've seen people in the media, I think like Brian Enton as well, quite a lot saying it happens, it's not a big deal, we already have reservations, like it's, some people are minimizing it right down. And even if he is going to try and keep the proceedings on time, I don't think that there's any way this cannot have an effect.
oh, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the it's not, I mean, when you look at the evidence, we got the pictures already. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got the pictures already back in March. That's when we started talking about how different a cars they were. So but the actual video, like, that the way that they did it with the suggestive tone and then they threw in that information right there, um it that's where it becomes dangerous. We already saw the pictures. It was crazy to see the video, but we already got the pictures. It wasn't that huge. It was huge as in public perception, what it can do to the jury.
Because I mean, they had Howard Blum right afterwards talking about how you can see from watching that video of the car doing car gymnastics or whatever it was doing, he's saying that shows that Brian Kohberger was in two minds at that point, but he had decided he wanted to go through with the decision. And so they put complete random people in there with their opinions, and then that obviously is going to plant a seed in people's minds when what you're looking at, like you said, we've already seen the pictures, but the way they can make things so dramatic is seriously dangerous.
Well, I mean, think about the times of the videos of the car. It's the same time that the DoorDash driver was coming for Xana.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The DoorDash driver supposedly showed up right at the same damn time as the car coming in and running around and everything. Um, it was very suggestive, and that's what it can do when it comes to the jury. Um, I see it, just if it is even delayed just a little bit of time. He's been doing such a great job since he took over of making sure things are a well-oiled machine where I mean, I just have with Judge John Judge, that was like you would wait forever just to
Mm-hmm.
even hear about what favorite jelly he liked. Um, really, the dude could never make a decision, even on jelly. But when Hitler took over, it was like, man, it's here we go, we're going. Nope,
Yeah.
this ain't stopping us. Nope, you need to have it done by this. Nope, you don't get to wait longer. It was great, and so I don't see him delaying it much, even if it, like I said, I don't even think it's going to get delayed. But if it does a week or two, what it can do for the appeal process and the
Mm.
DP and things like that, the charges, the severity of some of the stuff, that's where it can affect. And that's why I said Dateline isn't thinking about the victims, because if it wouldn't
No.
have happened, we wouldn't even be talking about these things.
No.
And who suffers the most? The victims do in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what Spicy Chicken Nuggets says about there. I didn't agree with that either. I thought that was uncalled for.
Yes, yes, I agree. Also, I just wanted to say hi to Heather, um, and Caddy. So the thing with calling people a conspiracy theorist, I almost wonder if after the leak, he might have changed his stance on some of the things that Sayre was saying. I wonder if he was maybe like, oh wait, he might have had a point here about the conduct of some of law enforcement in this, because before he was very much like, I'm not going to entertain your conspiracy theories. And I really do wonder if a little part of his mind after the leak was like,
Well, yeah, because you got to think about like, and it's just like some of these XLE officers that do YouTube channels.
hmm,
They don't. It's the same kind of thing. Judges, they don't want to think that they've gone through a process where it's pretty. Look, why would Ellie screw up? Why would Ellie lie? Why would people do these things? They're in that judicial system where it is all about integrity and honesty, and so you have to give your brethren the benefit of the doubt. And it's just like these law enforcement or ex law enforcement that do YouTube shows and whatever. They're coming from a stance where they have to give their brethren the benefit of the doubt, and a lot of times that gets clouded. It gets clouded, and so therefore it takes and there's so much. I can't imagine the kind of evidence that he's had to sit there and go through and maybe didn't even come across yet, you know and so
yeah,
he's starting to, over time, he's probably, yeah, starting to see, especially with this Dateline thing, and when he was talking about uh that it came from the prosecution. You're damn straight it came from the prosecution. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
ridiculous that some people are saying that it didn't, because, okay, obviously he has to check all of his bases, but I mean, he even immediately said, and even Dateline said that they didn't get
Yeah.
comment from the defense.
Yeah,
So
they
like,
didn't. They didn't talk to his defense attorneys at all. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And he said Shane has the list of all the people that are in close to the investigation that he gets information from. And when you're talking about a list, yeah, he's probably talking to President Green. He's probably talking to Captain Dollinger, or I mean, uh, Chief Dollinger. He's probably talking. He was talking to Barrett. You know what I mean? Like, these all were people. And when it comes to, think about all the stuff that mainstream media was saying in the beginning, like there was one of the victims' IDs in in a box in Brian Kohberger's house in Pennsylvania. There was dog hair at his apartment, like it was Murphy's. There were so many things that mainstream media was putting out there. Of course, they were getting it from the leaker, Mr. Barrett. And when you're inside the investigation and you know what you don't have, and you know what you need to do to put the public perception out there, just like the Dateline episode piece was, it was a public perception piece.
mm,
You're going to put out all this crazy ooh, ah. So then you're already convict him before he's even in trial.
yeah, and I mean, we don't even know what's coming out in the next book. I mean, I covered a little bit of James Patterson, and then in the episode after, I talked about how Vicky Ward has already been involved in a drama involving a leak. So, I mean, technically speaking, we don't even know if it's going to happen again. We don't know how serious the next one could be. We have to wait and see. I mean, they already on the back of the book are calling him an apparent incel. Like, okay,
I mean,
thanks for that.
forget the incel. Forget the incel. If you listen, if you go to school to learn forensic data and all of these other things that come along with what your schooling's, you're not going to screw up the way that that person screwed up. They didn't screw up because they were able to get in, get out, and where's the, other than the sheath, where's the, like they were able, like that, I mean, hey, in a small town, like especially in a small town, you're lucky you got in and out. Like you were really good at that. But if you did what Brian Kohberger supposedly did, going through all those cameras, going extra time to go to the crime, extra time to go back home, man, that makes absolutely no damn sense for anybody that doesn't even have any schooling. And if somebody's going to school for that, those are things that they're already going to look out for naturally. It just, those
Yeah.
two don't.
I mean, I've been to school for the same things, and I don't know. I mean, that's not even something as like specified as cloud-based forensics, which, yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It really don't, because it's like showing up to, like you already know it. You already know it. Like I didn't even go to school for it, Rosie, and when I went there, that's one of the reasons I did it, because I'm like, that any place that I go to, it doesn't matter what case I'm covering, any place that I go to, the first thing that I do instantly, footage of security and what security is available and what security is not available. Automatic. Like that's automatic. And I'm not even going to commit a crime. So if somebody's going to commit a crime, don't you? I mean, it just, that stuff, it just don't make sense,
Sorry, but I mean, you can see from the few times that we've seen Brian Kohberger on camera that he's aware of cameras. In the traffic stop, he clocked the camera. I've seen him do it in the courtroom. So it's not even like he's just an idiot with cameras and he's like, like we've seen it. We've seen him look at it.
He wasn't a flunky that didn't get referred. I mean, he was in the top of his class. He got one of two students that was referred. I mean,
yeah,
you don't go to school to make cakes and donuts and stuff, and you show up and you don't. And I don't even know how to make a cookie. Like, what do you mean, dude? You don't even know how to make a cookie, and you went to school to make these cakes and donuts and all this other stuff. Like, what do you mean? I don't even know how. It's horrible.
Well, no, I know, and it's technical stuff as well. I get the feeling he is very good at that kind of technical stuff. So.
You would have to be. It's back pocket knowledge. It's on the back of your hand. It's already there. You don't even have to think about it, And then you look at the evidence that exists in all these other cases compared to this one too, and where's the beef? The old ladies in the Wendy's commercial, they're looking at the hamburger going, it's mostly bun. Where's the beef? Where's the beef? I don't want bun. I want meat.
And in this case, it's just, Bill Thompson elaborating on how much they have.
I want to know who the alternate perpetrators are. I want to know what the evidence was of the alternate perpetrator. I know Spicy Chicken Nugget made a comment earlier in the show about Bethany and the exculpatory evidence and how it was another male DNA. And this is what I've always thought, Spicy Chicken Nuggets. What could be, like, you can't say, no, that's not Brian Kohberger, that was Jimmy Two-Tone. When it's that dark, you're not going to have a for sure, like, if you didn't see nobody, because remember, during the phone conversation that they were having, she didn't know, oh, I thought Xana was wearing all black. She didn't. But the exculpatory evidence, this is how you know that it's not Brian Kohberger. In the middle of the night, pitch black, with barely any kind of light reflecting on somebody if they're walking outside or inside. The only way that you know that, because Dylan saw a man, I'm going to preface this. Dylan saw a man in the witness statement, right? How would Bethany Funk's witness statement be of her own unique, that is not like anybody else's? It means Bethany saw a girl. That's the only way that you can say that's not Brian Kohberger, because Brian Kohberger doesn't have long hair. And that's how you know that it could be your own experience than what the other roommates are, is because Dylan saw a man and Bethany saw a woman. I've just thought about it from what couple years ago when Betani's affidavit came out. They were trying to go down there to interview Bethany in the spring of 2023. And when I started digging into it, that's when I was like, the only option, it's them tiles. What option can be available to have that kind of statement and for a lawyer to come out and make that claim? The only thing it could be is that Bethany saw somebody with long hair and an upper figure. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what
That would be the alternate perpetrator.
I
and
mean,
the evidence would be Bethany's statement. I saw a female.
Because we know that the alternate perpetrator came from a tip. I think Ann Taylor said in one of the hearings that they were going through old tips, and that's what they.
Yeah.
But I mean, I suppose like that might not necessarily be it.
Well, think about what she said in the text messages. I know Xana was wearing black. Is Xana not a female?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point.
Not that she saw Xana, but she did say Xana was in black. You think about the Batanti affidavit, how her experience is only to her, not any of the other roommates. She saw a female walking outside when she looked out her bedroom window. That's why the vertical blind was stuck open, because that's where Bethany was looking out the vertical blind as the female was walking in front of her to leave.
I don't know. For some reason, I've always felt that exculpatory evidence is a different time.
What do you think it is?
I know in the PCA, they say that they derived the time for the crime from the movement of the car, the statement of Dylan, and
the text messages and all that.
Yeah, but they leave out the statement of Bethany, her actual interviews, but they include Dylan's.
Yeah.
Which means that nothing that Bethany said contributed to the actual time.
It was actually a lie. Because Bethany is the one that said that Xana and Ethan came home at 1:45 a.m. when they weren't home. They weren't home after 2 o'clock when everybody was upstairs and they came downstairs. They still weren't home. So Bethany's statement in the PCA is actually a lie.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
she's claiming they were home before they were even home, because after all these other court documents came out recently and we found out after 2 o'clock the girls were upstairs, everybody was, and they were trying to figure out if they wanted to get more DoorDash, or I mean not DoorDash, but if they wanted to get more food.
Yeah.
And Xana and Ethan weren't there yet.
Yeah. That's a lie. I mean, they said that they came shortly afterwards, but that's also like an interesting point. I mean, what's exculpatory, but then what's trustworthy as well? Like, I mean, if there's so many different stories, how do we even know if what her exculpatory evidence is anything at all? I guess that's as part of why she's being so evasive. It kind of makes you think that she definitely does know something.
Because she knows that if she has to go up and testify that not only that she saw Xana wearing black, because she said it in the text messages that have been released, I don't think she wants to go up and testify that she saw a female dressed in black walking away after everything took place. because
Yeah.
that's going to get Kohberger off. Don't you think? Like, if you have a witness that gets on the stand and says, "Did you see a male leaving the crime? Leaving the house after the crime took place? Did you see a male, or did you see a female?" I saw a female. Case closed.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole thing. Because, I mean, as well with the alternative perpetrator stuff. I mean,
And that's the proof. Like, that's why I was like, alternate perpetrator. How do you have somebody else's DNA profile? You know what I mean? Like, that's what I would like. How do you know? Like, do you have somebody's witness statement saying, yes, I was part of the crime? Well, then they would be, there's like, what could it be? The only evidence that the defense could have when it comes to an alternate perpetrator is Bethany's statement that there was a female that was leaving the scene of the crime after the crime took place. That's it. How can they? What other proof can they have? I don't get it. What other proof?
I don't know. I have no idea. But I did hear Brian Ensign say that he heard. I mean, I don't know what's trustworthy because they say they've been burned before. He heard that there's two people in the submission document. I wanted to quickly catch up on chat. Hey, Kitty, how are you?
Yeah, this whole alternate perpetrator thing. It's like I'm telling you, like, my mind is like, and was back then 2 years ago, and I'm like, what could it be? And that's the only thing. And then you look at what she was saying in the text messages. You look at how all this stuff is coming out and playing out. And what else could it be other than she saw a female leaving the house after the crime took place?
Well, the alternative suspect is forever going to be known as Jimmy Two-Tone now.
I
need to put that in the document.
Somebody left me a comment on my Keith Morrison impression from the other night, and they're like, "Dude, that is SNL worthy." Keith Morrison. Oh.
It was though. I mean, that voice though.
Yeah. I used to, I that's why I make a lot of voices and come up with different names and stuff. It helps people understand. I feel like it helps people understand better. Like, you can, instead of me telling you some words, when I'm telling you Jimmy Two-Tone and so, automatically you're thinking of, what would Jimmy Two-Tone look like? So the Jimmy Two-Tone's in your head. And then when I'm explaining the interactions that are taking place, then that also transfers into your mind. So you're almost seeing it. You know what I mean? It's like giving you a cartoon in your mind that you can see to help understand a little better what I'm trying to explain or whatever. So.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. Though.
I need some new names though for my characters.
Our cute kitty is kitten parenting. Cute.
But yeah, the out of state subpoenas, I mean, that's automatic. That's where he's from. They're gonna subpoena people from VA.
So a lot of people were saying incorrectly that these subpoenas were on behalf of the state, and they're not. They are defense subpoenas.
Yeah.
So I wanted to correct that because I don't know. I saw some ridiculous things on Twitter.
I know. Even on YouTube, that's what people that you would expect to read the information before they discuss it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that bad. It's like, whoa.
It literally says it in there.
Right.
So because all of them are pretty much the same, except for one. Whose one is a little different? Hold on a sec. I think it's the guy who owns the gym, Harris. His is the only one that says that it's based on a affidavit from Ann Taylor. The rest all says an affidavit from Eliza Massoff. Other than that, the documents are supposed to read. Other than that, the documents are pretty much the same. So I'm going to go through one of them. And then obviously you guys know that the one for the guy who was, I think, at school with Brian, they accidentally put Michelle Bulger. And don't listen to Fox News because Fox News called her Marie Bulger or something. So then, you see, you want new names for characters, Fox News will help. Because that's not a person, I don't think. So I'm going to read the one for Harris, I think, because that's the one that's a little bit different. And then, yeah, you can pretty much see what's in there. And I'll show you guys where you can literally see that it's like there's a few places where you can see that it's a defense document, even if it just helps one person who's struggling with that.
There's, you never, I mean, like I said, there's people you would automatically think they are, yeah, I don't know. It's just crazy. It's whatever the narrative is. That's why I said some channels, the journalistic approach like us, we're just going to give you the factual information when it comes to
and that's probably why I want to make sure that there's a bit of a correction out there, because there is no ways they're going to put out a state issued subpoena and be like, just contact Ann Taylor when you receive this. Like, no, they're not gonna be like, Bill Thompson wants to see you, so please call Ann. No. Okay. So
it's the cotton balls at the bottom of the cliff.
Hey, it's tempting.
It's soft down there. Trust me.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Okay, I'm going to start where it says, I'm just going to start at 1. It says, Jesse Harris is a material and necessary witness in the criminal proceedings pending before the district court for the 4th Judicial District of the state of Idaho. I'm scrolling the wrong way. Compelling the attendance and testimony of Jesse Harris will not cause undue hardship to him. The laws of the state of Idaho, where the prosecution is pending, and of any other state through which Jesse Harris may be required to pass by ordinary course of travel, provide protection to him from arrest and from the service of civil or criminal process while traveling to, attending, and returning from the proceedings. For these reasons, it is hereby ordered as follows.
Wait a minute. So he can like start a marshmallow fire and have protection from an arrest?
I think if he's already started a marshmallow fire, not if he's planning to. So they're saying like,
yeah, what if he starts a marshmallow fire at a rest area? Hey, I can do whatever I want. You can't arrest me. See you later. Like, is that?
No. I think it's for his past marshmallow fires.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe he'll test it out. I don't know.
Oh, I mean, hey, if it's a free pass, it's a free pass, right? Do some shit you always wanted to do, you just never could do before, right? I'd start a marshmallow fire for a minute. I'd make sure I'd put it out, but I'd do a marshmallow fire.
A summons shall issue with a copy of the certificate issued by the Honorable Stephen Hippler of the District Court of the 4th Judicial District of the state of Idaho, pursuant to all of those codes attached, directing Jesse Harris to attend and testify in the criminal proceedings pending the state of Idaho on the dates of trial, which begins August 11th and ends November 7th. With the specific date to be communicated to Jesse Harris by the court. And like I said, so far, the other documents for the other people are exactly the same. I literally I printed them all out and I turned the pages together. I was like, no, there's no difference. So pursuant to that code, the petitioner respectfully requests that this court scheduling a hearing and subsequently issue a summons compelling Jesse Harris to testify in an out-of-state criminal proceeding, and in support of this request, avers as follows. 1. Petitioner, the undersigned, has been retained as local counsel by the firm of Ann Taylor Law in its capacity as counsel for Brian C. Kohberger in criminal proceedings pending in the District Court of the 4th Judicial District of the State of Idaho, County of Ada, Captain State of Idaho versus Brian C. Kohberger, and bearing docket number, you guys can read the docket number. The trial is scheduled to take place from August 11, 2025 until November 7, 2025. Judge Stephen Hippler of the District Court of the 4th Judicial District of the State of Idaho. They're going to say that every time. They can't just say the judge. Has issued a subpoena commanding the appearance and testimony at trial of Jesse Harris, who lives, works, or does business in Monroe, Pennsylvania. See copy of subpoena attached as Exhibit A. Pursuant to the codes, Judge Hippler has issued a certificate under seal affirming that a criminal proceeding is pending in the District Court for the 4th Judicial District in the State of Idaho. Jesse Harris is a material witness in that proceeding. The presence of Jesse Harris is required as a witness in the proceeding for a specified number of days, and Jesse Harris will be protected from arrest and service of civil or criminal process while traveling to, attending, and returning from the proceeding. Yes, you're right.
He can do it on his way back, too. He can start one on the way there and do one on the way back. Dude.
Hmm? Yeah.
Party.
See a copy of Judge Hippler's certificate attached as Exhibit B. Judge Hippler's certificate constitutes prima facie evidence of all the facts stated therein. Pursuant to a bunch of codes, petitioner respectfully requests that this court issue an order directing Jesse Harris to appear for a hearing to determine whether he should be compelled to attend and testify in the out-of-state proceedings discussed herein. Wherefore, petitioner respectfully requests that this court set a date and time for a hearing on this petition, and following the hearing, issue a summons directing Jesse Harris to attend and testify at the criminal trial in Idaho. And I'm guessing that because of this hearing, that's why it's a civil case, or some of these things have been labeled as civil cases. Because the people who are coming out and saying that Brian Kohberger is suing people for defamation, I don't think that's what it is. I don't understand the codes and everything, but I think maybe, is it a civil case? Maybe Yoli can answer this one day if she watches on replay. Is it a civil case because of that hearing?
Well, there's nobody from Idaho that's even wanting to talk to the defense anyway when it comes to witnesses. They need to have somebody come out there and say that Brian is a good person, or Brian, no, he didn't specifically ask for this feature or some, testify to whatever. They got to have somebody to talk good, or to explain, like, when it comes to the vehicle, maybe explain something when it comes to the vehicle and such like that.
Well, do you think that's to do with,
if he was going to sue people for defamation, I think he'd go after some of these channels that just misreported this information yesterday about these documents. I mean, that's who you need to go after. Shit.
Yeah.
Go after the dude that sued fucking Britney Spears. She made me rob the bank.
Also, I don't know if it's his priority to be sued right now. He's probably working on his criminal case.
She made me do it. She made me do it. Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Certificate pursuant to Idaho code. I don't read the codes because I stumble over them and then I look like I can't read. Pursuant to Idaho more codes, and after considering the motion of the defendant and the affidavit of Ann Taylor, and this is where it's different. All of the others say the affidavit of Massoth, but they all reference the defense. So this is the only one that's different,
Yeah.
but all defense. The District Court of the 4th Judicial District of the State of Idaho, in and for the County of Ada, being otherwise fully advised, hereby certifies as follows. The 4th District Court in Ada County is constitutionally and statutorily a court of record in the state of Idaho. There is a criminal proceeding pending before this court at case number, you can read that. The defendant in this case is charged with 4 counts of unaliving in the 1st degree and 1 count of burglary. And they have the codes, and it's punishable by death. I am the judge assigned to preside over the trial, scheduled to begin on August 11, 2025 at 8:30 a.m. through November 7th, 2025. Jesse Harris, and again, same as all the other people, a person within the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, is a material witness in this case for the defendant.
That's what it is. It's not defamation. It's not defamation. It's not, hey, this is the other person that committed the crime. It's none of that. It's like I said, the defense, they can't even get people they can't even interview people to talk about, the stuff that was taking place in their neighborhood that morning. Like they can't even get people to, they got to have somebody. And that's why, so hopefully, I don't know how they're going to work this. I don't, it's nice that they can do marshmallow fires on the way there and the way back. How are they? Because you got to think about it. Like, hell, when I went out there to Idaho, the total cost for the Idaho trip for a full week was a little over $5,000. Okay. Now, PA compared to Indiana is it's a lot farther. You're talking another, hell, I think it took me 14, 15 hours just to get to Philadelphia for the Cavalcante stuff when I went there. So you're talking another 15 hours this way. You're going on. I can't imagine the cost, not only the work that they have to miss, getting the time off, the travel expenses, the lodging, all of those different things. What witness is going to be able to just be like, yeah, hey, I'll just tack it on my tab? That's a lot of money. And so what I wonder is how are they even, how does that, do the courts have to add that on to their to their costs?
I'd imagine so. I don't really know how it works.
You get your flight, but you got to figure out your lodging. I don't know.
Because the families have GoFundMes, and I would have expected that they would have gotten assistance with that. I thought it was strange that they didn't. So
yeah, yeah. And I'm glad that the other family members are able to go. They're Xana's mom's GoFundMe it only took a couple days and it already hit the goal, so that's awesome to see.
Yeah.
Because I know that she doesn't come from the money that some of the other families come from, and it was unfortunate that they were getting a lot of the attention and not her. So that was beautiful to see.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what it is. They're material witnesses. Whether it's the car, whether it's him as a person, whether it's schooling or whatever. The people that are in Pennsylvania that are going to talk negative, they were the ones that already sold their stories to mainstream media, and their testimonies don't have any kind of weight. Just like the Dateline episode, when people were talking about all these witnesses on the episode, it's like, it don't matter because it's already tainted. So what does it matter? And it's all suggestive. So
yeah, and they had to really crank it up to make it sound dramatic, right?
Even these material witnesses is going to be suggestive too. That's why they're showing up. They're showing up to suggest that didn't do this or did do this or is like this or is not like this. That's what it's also suggestive too. When when it comes to these witnesses. So it's all suggestive. We just need to look at the evidence. You know, we can hear 20 bad things about a person and 20 good things about a person. There's plenty of stuff that's plenty of people that say bad things about us when they don't even know who we are. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anybody can have an opinion, anybody can express, but really, let's just, who cares about this? I want to know about the evidence. I don't care
Yeah.
what Jesse Harris has to say. I really don't.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, that is something that the defense brought up in their recent motion. They called the trial, I can't remember the exact words, but it was something like a battle of narratives or something like that, saying that human beings want to hear stories. So
I mean, look at what they do on YouTube now. People are making a living making shows bullying and badgering other people. Like that is actually a freaking thing where like literally those channels that it's the new soap opera. Nobody's watching as the world turns anymore. They're turning on YouTube to watch this content creator talk shit about this one. And the drama that it stirs in, but it's the new soap opera, you know, the music and the look, you know, it's like, oh
yes, when people put that on thumbnails where they're surprised, you're like,
yeah, the freaking, oh my god, it's so cheesy. I mean, I see so many people do it. It's just like, it's so, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to laugh, but
Maybe it's because I don't take photos of my food before I eat it and post it on social media. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I don't.
that's
Hey, look at these chicken nuggets I made today. Snap, and then I post it. You know, I'm not worried about it. You know, so it's like, no
I think spicy
wonder.
chicken nuggets in chat has inspired your next lunch.
it's like somebody comes out. What'd they do? See an accident? Like, oh, come on. It's just cheesy. That's just me, though. I'm simple. I'm a simple guy.
No, I also prefer that. But
I'm
hey,
just,
this
I'm
is really
just
helpful. It says it's civil because the person being served is not charged. So
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay.
Lucy, I know Jimmy TT. I call him Jimmy TT. And no, he doesn't take pics of his food either.
Oh, he doesn't have time for such things. He's still looking for his knife sheath.
What's up, TT? Oh gosh.
I looked into the early warning report. No, I haven't. Why haven't I? I will, though. I will take a look at that. Thank you. We also have a reminder that BK listens to Britney Spears. So he listens to slowed down versions, though.
I'm just saying, dude sued Britney Spears because she made him rob a bank. It's like, that's the problem with the world these days. Nobody's accountable for their shit, you know? She made me do it. No, your ass made you do it. Like, it's sad. Like I said, the cotton balls at the bottom of the cliff are very soft. Trust me.
Yes. Comfy.
Oh yeah, that too, Morningstar. They waited. I mean, hell, just as long as they waited to even test the sheath, Lucy. Like, why would you wait 13 days to even do that? Why would you even wait to test the damn sheath, man? Like, you're gonna wait a couple weeks to test the sheath when the sheath was laying right next to the victim?
Yeah, everything around the sheath is really.
What's the delay? What is the delay? It degrades. You know what I mean? You wouldn't want somebody to make, look, the more time you leave it sitting there, there's more time for a mistake. There's more time for contamination. There's more time for something bad to happen. You get the shit done right away. You want to know, because then you can put it into CODIS. You can figure out, okay, it was this guy. Why are you waiting 2 weeks?
Yeah, especially if it's what everybody's calling the smoking gun, the smoking sheath.
Yeah, that's why I really feel like That's why I really feel like Barrett was the leak. I really feel like the the university, the police department, um, they wanted him to put this information out there. I think that they didn't think that Barrett was going to get as far as he did, especially making it through the Dateline episode that just came out. I think they felt Barrett was going to get stopped before that, but the fact that nobody stopped him, he was able to spread all of the shit. You listen to the stuff that Steve G talks about. You listen to the stuff mainstream media. You listen to the stuff that these YouTubers that talk to the G family are saying. It's all the same suggestive, twisted shit that has been put out there from the beginning. And it's the same stuff that's being put out there from the same person. That's why I feel like they were cool with it. Go ahead. Be the fall guy. You know, that's why I think Barrett was delegated to a very minimal role shortly after, within just a few weeks after the crime took place, is because, dude, we got to make sure that you're not that close to us anymore, because you are the self-made patsy. Because when it comes time that you do get caught, we can say, hey, we didn't know about it. Plausible deniability.
Yeah, and I mean, also, it's like it's suspicious already to choose pain. Like, you can
25
already
years compared to 5 years. You know, Barrett had 25 years. He was working with it. Dude, like, you have an officer that is already works with President Green and works with Blaine Eccles, knows all the students. It knows everybody in the PD. Like, that dude, 25 years experience for Moscow PD. All of these other awards, you're going to, like, why wouldn't you want that dude to be everything in the investigation? Like, he would have the most knowledge, the most experience. And Barrett was Fry's protege. So yes, why at a couple weeks after the crime takes place do you take a dude that 5 years has no fucking experience, excuse me, and then just throw him in? And it's because Barrett was already the one that was putting the information out to mainstream media. Barrett was already the one that was giving out the information. And so Barrett would continue to be the one to give out the information. And they wanted to have plausible deniability when it came to this stuff getting out, because then they don't have to show you that they've been telling us that they've had a full house. And if they get that hand taken away and look, we had a full house, you'll never know. You'll never know unless they were able to lay the cards down and show you that they only had a pair of sevens. It's called poker. You bluff. And they don't have to show anybody then. The narrative gets pushed out. The dude gets self-made patsy. They get to distance themselves. The evidence doesn't get put out there, and then nobody really sees that they only had a pair of sevens. They're doing it on purpose.
Yeah, and it comes back to what we always ask: what is straightforward in this case? Like, is there one thing that's just normal? Like, just one thing? Is there something?
Yeah, he was Joe Dirt before he showed up, and he was Batman inside the house. That's for certain.
Batman had an expiry on it.
That don't happen. It don't happen. Like, you either show up shitty and it goes shitty and then it goes perfection, or you show up with perfection and it goes perfection, or you show up perfection and it goes shitty. You don't show up shitty, have perfection, and then exert more shitty afterwards. It doesn't go that way.
Yes, take a seat in the middle of everything.
That's not how it plays out. It's not. It just doesn't.
Yeah. And that's a really good point, Heather, because that was one of the first things I noticed when I read the PCA the first time ever, because I was late to the case. Um, and
Yeah.
I didn't have like a channel yet or anything. And I read the PCA and I realized like quite early on was that they built everything around the car before they checked that the car was involved. And I mean, you can't presuppose a suspect and then start investigating that. You have to investigate the facts and then derive a suspect.
Well, think about from the very beginning. I don't know if anybody really remembers this. So before okay, so they had the Oregon car. Remember? They did this Oregon thing, they went out. Okay. Remember when they did that trip out east where they went out way east of Moscow? They had a team that went out way east looking for surveillance footage and all this other stuff. Why in the hell were you even going that direction anyway? Because according to you, Kohberger never even went east. He went south. So why would you even go east? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, out to Troy, right? Why would you even set up a team, right? If you already had the footage and you saw the whole, why would you even go east when he went south? No, that goes to your argument of how they made it fit. Also, when it comes to, like Lucy said, when it comes to the Nissan Sentra, they were the first 2 weeks. The first 2 weeks. That means all of frickin' November, for the most part, except for a couple days. 2 weeks. They were first looking for a Nissan Sentra. Then they switched it to a 2011 to 2013 Hyundai. They did not even, the day that they arrested Kohberger, they had a statement that morning that still stated 11 to 13. If you knew that you were going to arrest this guy and you knew that you were looking at him, that's why people are like, oh, he was on their radar since no, he wasn't. Because if he was, they would have put out the correct year of the freaking car. Especially the morning that they put out the release statement, December 28th. They say 11 to 13. And then all of a sudden, Brett Payne later that afternoon is writing up a probable cause Exhibit A so they can arrest Kohberger.
Yeah, everything's backwards. Everything.
That's why I think there's when we had those pictures in March of the vehicle coming in and the vehicle leaving. They're different cars. Then you look at all the stuff of the vehicle of the car coming in and everything that was taking place. It's like we were telling you back then. It looked like a damn lost DoorDash driver because you're like, where's 1122 King Road? I don't see 1122 when I'm on King Road. I only see 1122, but I'm on Queen, so it's a Queen Road. Like, I can see the confusion. And that, to me, that does look like a lost DoorDash driver trying to figure out where in the hell 1122 King Road is. That explains why the car leaving is a different color. Of course. And then to sit there and be like, the car don't have any license plates. How can you even effing tell? The pictures are so blurry. You know what I mean? They're so blurry. And the way that they customize their front license plates, they're bored kids. They're in the middle of frickin' potatoes. What are you gonna do in the middle of potatoes, Rosie? You're gonna do shit like move your license plate cover, right? Because you're bored. What are you gonna do? Kick potatoes around for fun? No.
I mean, so much you can do with potatoes. I know.
I mean, they're good potatoes, but damn, it's gotta be so freaking boring. With any of these agricultural communities, like like you go outside and you look around, it's just nothing but crops. Boy, that's fucking fun. That is fun.
Potatoes are innocent. We have nothing against potatoes. We have
I
nothing
love them.
against Britney
I love them.
Spears. Yeah,
I love them.
potatoes.
Baked potato, French fries, potato chips, potato salad. Oh, I
All of
mean,
them.
yeah, potato soup. Oh gosh, I love potatoes. I really do.
Never had the soup.
Oh, it's so good. Potato soup, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you should look up a recipe. It's good.
I will.
American. I don't know what potato soup might be over there for
I'm sure
you
it's
guys.
just
I don't
potato
want.
soup.
Listen, I don't want you to make a mistake and come across some weird shit. You'd be like, "This is." Look up American potato soup, okay?
American,
I don't
yeah.
know what you got in your shit, but
Like me still trying to recover from the trauma of hearing about biscuits and gravy.
yeah, the biscuits, yeah.
That took a while. Took me some time.
That had to almost make you puke when you heard biscuits and
I was
gravy.
horrified.
Who puts
Yeah.
gravy on cookies? Oh my god,
Yeah. So for
it's
people who don't
making
know,
me.
in South Africa,
It's
what
making
you
my
guys
stomach
call a
shake.
cookie, yeah, what you guys call cookies, we call biscuits.
Yeah,
Chocolate chip biscuit, that's normal.
yeah,
Biscuit and
with gravy
gravy?
on it. Ugh,
Oh,
that'd be gross. That'd be
no,
so
no,
gross.
no,
I
no.
love me some
Okay,
biscuits
so
and
but
gravy
potato
here
soup
though.
sounds like potato soup.
Oh,
It's
the best breakfast. Give me some eggs, some biscuits, and gravy. We're good.
uh-uh.
I'm
Yeah,
ready to
yeah, yeah,
face the
yeah,
day. I
yeah.
never get it though. But what stuck out to you about this Jesse Harris one though?
This is just because the affidavit's from Ann Taylor and not Eliza Mathoff. So I just wanted to be able to read it and say that everything's exactly the same for all of them except this. And it's literally says it's a defense document. I mean, I did find out a little bit about the people, but I also feel a little bad. Like,
Yeah, I know. I saw what you wrote. Yeah, you don't want to
yeah,
really, even though they're public documents, you don't really want to put their
yeah,
information. Yeah,
yes. So
yeah,
I did find out some stuff about them, but yeah, it's not like super clear how the majority of them are connected to Brian Kohberger. And then we know that Michelle Bulger was a mistake. She's not really meant to be in there, and we know that she taught him, and she was one of the names listed on that survey
yeah.
from early on. I don't know if maybe they like changed their mind about putting her in there or something. Other than
Well,
that,
the people who are doing the court documents, you don't even know if it says June or July or Juno or JUCO or any of that. Like, come on, let's do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like a huge case.
yeah,
Make sure that stuff is properly written out and notated and the right names are in. Like, that is so,
yeah,
my gosh. When you're talking about technicalities, you got to do better, because technicalities can get people off too. Not saying that would, but what I'm saying is that approach, that practice. We can get hey, if we make a mistake, it is what it is. No, it's not. You
yeah,
need to do better.
yeah. And I mean, honestly, I think I don't know. When it comes to like taking pride in what you do,
Right.
it's not a big thing to just retype stuff. I know that there's a lot of documents involved, but
It's called do your job.
yeah,
You wouldn't put you if you walked in and you wouldn't put somebody else's name where your name goes. Do your job. It's that simple. That's what you're hired to do. That's what you went to school to do. That's what I mean.
that's what you
Do
do.
your effing job. That's why don't put pickles on the bottom of a burger. Do your effing job. They go on the top, not the bottom.
They go on the top.
Never go on the bottom. You put them on the top. Do your effing job. Put them on top. It's that simple.
It's crucial. It's crucial.
It is.
And retype the burger if you did it wrong. Okay. I just wanted to remind myself where to stop because I remembered that I didn't redact these people's addresses. So I'm not going to read the end of the document. All that's really left here is that Harris's presence is required for 2 days, and every single person, it says 2 days. So it's not like they've done some calculation to see who's more important than anyone else. And that's where I'm going to stop. If anybody's interested, the counsel retained for all of these people is Abigail Parnell. That is pretty much it, because like I said, I didn't redact their addresses. I'm not going to go past Exhibit B, because when we were talking about how I didn't want to,
You didn't want to do a dateline. You didn't want to.
Yeah, that I didn't want to do a dateline. And I remember that
your that word you came up with. Did you tell anybody that yet? Have you said that word that you made up about Dateline?
Oh no, the word date leak was the title of one of the videos I did.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I wanted to make sure, because I've heard people say like they've came up with like date gate and all this other shit like that.
Yeah, no, it's a date leak.
And I was like, Rosie's got the best word, date leak.
Date leak.
Yeah, that's
the word. It's what it is. What else can you call it?
It's the best, yeah. I almost wanted to make you like a date leak logo to match theirs, just to use it.
Could that get you in trouble? Like, is it?
It might. Yeah. Especially, I mean, listen, they still hit my videos for just showing a picture of one of their clips. Like, I don't even move it. I don't play audio. Not just showing the video in my background gets me in trouble. I'm pretty sure they would, which I don't know why. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they want the attention on their what do they call them? Bombshells from sources close to the investigation.
They never used to be like that. It was only News Nation was the only one that you would have to worry about copyright stuff, which it's like, you know, when you're talking about some of these cases and they're reporting on it, it's like, why would you copyright somebody when they're trying to spread awareness about a case, right?
Yeah.
When you're like, why would you copyright? So News Nation has always been that way. They've always been real pain in the butts about it. But Dateline just went on a whole nother level. And I'm just glad that we could do it over on Twitch and those other platforms, because I don't know, maybe they're not hip to the script or with the times or something, but for some reason we could play it and watch it and talk about it and everything on Twitch and not have any issues. So
yeah, and that was a huge help for us who couldn't see it.
There's still a lot of people that haven't seen it yet, you know, and I'm like, go watch it on Twitch. Like, it's right there. Yeah, still people haven't seen it. So
yeah, I'm still, I know it's a little late, but I'm still shocked by some of the things that they put in there. I can't. The thing about him sitting down,
yeah, or the word carved, you know, that was interesting to hear that. And he even said they specifically told us carved, you know. That was like, that just makes you wonder, like, was there you didn't hear anything about any kind of satanic stuff, or, you know what I mean? So it was like carved.
It is weird though. Like it didn't make me think.
Got my brain rattling. Those million tiles again, and they're just rattling. I'm like, what? Carved? Like, what is? That just leaves it open to so many different things, you know. But then it don't, because there's certain stuff that's not even put into. You know what I'm saying? Like, you think of Delphi and you think of, you know, how they were left, and there's stuff in the documents that refer to some of the actions of when it came to the injuries, and so you don't hear none of that. We haven't heard any of that. There was none of,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, or any kind of link to any kind of ritualistic activities or anything like that with Kohberger or something like that. So it makes you wonder, like, what could really be the carve. But yeah, yeah, and then the sitting down, that was wild too. You know, sat down after
Yeah.
Ethan and Xana sat down for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, reigning suspects, welcome.
What's up?
ISP investigator Gilbertson says he time runs the crime and it took 2 to 4 minutes. That's because they need time to then clean up. Yeah, 13
Yeah.
total minutes. Yeah.
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 And they don't even have any video or notes from the runs of that taking them that long. Like,
right.
it's just going to be him with a little poker stick showing in a model. Yeah, you can basically do it in about this much time. Like, there's if you're doing trial runs, and don't you think like you would document it?
Of course.
I
Of course.
mean,
Now we don't know if they got Gilbertson a chair and a vacuum cleaner and all of the things as well.
that is wild though. When we heard that though, that they sat down, it was like,
yeah.
it was like, well, they weren't in a rush, were they?
No.
Because they didn't hurry up and get the hell out of there.
No.
No. They thought everybody was. They must have thought everybody was not. They must have thought they got everybody. You know, if you're gonna sit down and take a break after Ethan and Xana.
I mean, that does convey quite a level of calmness.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it's possible to be calm in that situation, but I guess they were. I mean, maybe it's also to do with the fact that there were 2 people, and I maybe they needed to leave together, and somebody was waiting for somebody else. No.
You know what really is crazy to me is, you know how like we heard stories of how Dylan yelled up to the bedroom to shut the fuck up and all this stuff. It makes me wonder if Dylan was because you know how like you got the animations out there right now where people saying that Xana was running upstairs to find out what happened and got chased back down. I'm wondering if Dylan saying that is what alerted the person that committed the crime, which alerted them to go downstairs because he heard somebody saying that and then encountered Xana. Because I don't see, I'm going to be honest with you, if Xana runs upstairs or goes upstairs and sees the person that committed the crime, she's either making the bedroom where she shuts, I'm going to be honest with you. Somebody's in there committing the crime, notices somebody looking through the door. That's such a tight stairway, right? I guarantee you that person's bolting from where they're at to go after her, and they would have got to her at the bottom of the frickin' stairs. They wouldn't have got to her in the hallway before her room. So that's why I feel like if that's what took place where Xana came upstairs, she would have been laying in the kitchen, or she would have made it to her room. She's not going to make it right in front of her room and then he finally gets her. No, he would have got to her way before that. I feel like Dylan yelling something is what alerted the person they came down, encountered Xana because she was the one that was getting the DoorDash, and it was Dylan's loud effing mouth that then got Xana attacked the way that she got attacked. And that's why I think the person sat down after Xana and Ethan is because they thought the person that was yelling upstairs, he already got her. Yeah. So I can sit down and take a breather.
Yeah, I mean, that is a possibility. I mean, when I heard that stuff about Xana, I thought that they made it up. Honestly, I thought that they were just trying to make an excuse for why the sheath was in the bed. But I mean, if it happened that way, I think that is a good possibility.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, and it could have got her out of her room too. We don't know for sure. I'm just going off of what they said, and yeah, you got shut the F up. Blah, 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 blah. Then you got Xana coming out going, what is going on? If she wasn't getting a DoorDash, but I don't know how you clear the DoorDash driver so quick either.
Yeah, or a lot of people.
I mean, it's right at the time of I just.
Yeah.
It's easy to blame it on an outsider because he didn't change his license plates like the real estate agents tell you to do when you move there, because they want to make sure that you don't get treated like crap. So make sure you change your plates.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I see chat's getting busy just as we're wrapping up.
Well, definitely watch it.
Yes, and I was excited to show off my new graphics. So
yeah, they look good.
Thank you, and I have the mods in the outro as well.
Yeah, they look good.
Thank you, and thank you so much for being here as well.
No, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's fun coming to hang out. I have to do this more often.
Yeah, you do.
I appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to put you a link one more time, even though I know everybody already has it, but I'm just going to do that one more time.
I appreciate you.
Because I haven't forgotten where I put it. There we go.
Bethany saw a girl. You know she did.
All right. And thank you so much.
Why would you not want to testify to make sure your friends got justice?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that is the question when it comes to her, and that sums it up. And I still find it ridiculous that the judge, I mean, I know that they technically are victims, but I just feel like that's the one criticism I have is like, I do think that he has a blind spot when it comes to that. I just do.
Yeah. But I mean, you got a tattoo of him. The least you could do for him is show up, since you're one of the two witnesses. The least you could do is show up and, and whatever your testimony is, because it's about the truth and justice for your friends. So even if you go up there on the stand and you say that you saw a female, it's helping your friends get truth and justice.
Yeah.
You got to do it. They're your friends.
The extent to which that people have forgotten that it's about them, like with leaks and all of the chaos around it. It's like everybody's in it for something different, it seems.
It's just me. I wouldn't want any friends like that. I'll haunt you. I told you already. I'll haunt you. Because I know I ain't crossing over. Some shit happens like that, you don't call 911 to get me some help. Shit. I know I ain't crossing over. I'll be miserable as hell. I'll be like, them son of a...
And that's hard work. It is. You have to like...
I'd be like, this... I would be a soul filled with hate. You know what? I'm just being honest. Like, there'd be no crossing over.
Yeah.
Make them have a flat tire every day, Rosie. My ghost nail. Every day.
Every day.
That's a bit excessive. You just fall asleep. Ah! Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest.
Oh my goodness, that is going to be merch. I want you. Yeah.
What's that? I will pop your tire every day. I appreciate you guys.
You too. Thank you so much. This is getting way too creative now. Oh my goodness. All right. Hope everyone has a great day. What's left of the day. And I appreciate you all being here. And you too, CJ.
Thank you, Lucy.
Everyone.
Some lemon in her eye.